Hello and welcome to the first video for the Year 8 Game Design project. This is a series of videos that will talk you through the project that we're going to do together. We'll give you some teaching on the different skills that you need, and we'll show you the different tasks that you need to complete. Before I start the video properly, can you please make sure that your screen looks something like the one in front of me by going to Google Classroom, by logging on with your school username and password. If you need to get them reset or you can't remember them, please just email your teacher and we'll sort it out for you. And going to the Year 8 Game Design Assessment or Assignment. It should look like this, and in the right hand corner you should have two pieces of work assigned to you. There's a Google Docs one there, which will be your booklet that we work through and do a lot of the work in. And there's a Google Slides one to get some evidence of a game that you're going to create. And over on this side of it, there is a Google Slides document. That is a presentation I'm going to give. And there might be some other YouTube links here as well to these videos just to help you. Press pause to make sure you get that done. Right, I'm going to assume that you're all there now. So we're going to be working through this Year 8 game project together. And over the next couple of weeks, couple of months of teaching. Now, there are lots of different parts to this project, and hopefully by the end of the project, you would have created a new computer game for a mobile phone app. And we are going to use Scratch to do that online, but there are lots of other tasks associated with the project as well. So hopefully you're going to find out about the history of computer games and do some research into different computer games. You're going to practice using Scratch to practice using different tasks in Scratch, first of all, things that you can then build into your game. We're going to plan your game in detail. You're going to create your game in Scratch and get the evidence. And at the end, you're going to create an advertising campaign and look at the business side of selling a computer game. So, for part one, research. These are the things that I want us to learn and to think about. You're going to be able to use correct tools and searches to interrogate the internet to find correct and relevant information. You're going to analyze different products using different criteria, so different computer games, and you're going to present information to a specific audience and purpose. The first task we're going to look at is looking at different types of computer game. So I want you to have a think about the different genres, the different types of computer game that you think of that you can play. I've had a think and I've come up with these ones. So I think that you get shoot 'em up games. Games like Asteroid, where you go and shoot things up, you might control a shooting thing. A shooting thing, what sort of word is that? You get first player shooters, like things like Call of Duty or Fortnite, where you control the person and you go around shooting people. You get platform games, right? Things like Mario or Sonic, where you follow a world. You might choose different parts of that world. It might take you through a certain world, and you have to rescue certain things. You get strategy games, like a Minecraft, a bit of a strategy game, Age of Empires, those kind of games where you have to think about what you're doing. Puzzle games like Tetris, or Sudoku-based games, simple ones. And then things like sports games like FIFA or cricket or basketball games that you can play. So our first task is to explain different genres and give some examples. So if you go back to Google Classroom, we're going to use this booklet here to do your work. So what I would like you to do is to click on that booklet and it should load it up. And it should look something like this. Right, down this side down here, you've got the links. If you haven't got it there, if you just click on the little button up here, that looks like this, you'll open up and you'll see links to different part of the work. Now we're going to do task 1, types of computer game. And you've got a grid here to fill in. So I've got the different types of computer game down here. What I would like you to do first of all is to think about 4 or 5 different games that fit that type of game and give a general description of that game. If you want to put in some other types of games that you can think of, if you right click in the table, you can insert a row and you've got another row that you can fill in. So I'm going to give you some time to fill that in. If you can press pause on the video for me while you're filling that in, we'll then move on to the next part of the project. Welcome back and thank you for completing the first task. The second part of the project that we're going to look at for research is we're going to look at the history of computer games, right? When they first came out and so on. Do you know anything about the history of games? Do you know when the first console came out? Do you know when the first Mario came out or the first Call of Duty or FIFA? So we're going to look at when different consoles came out. So when did the Xbox, the PlayStation come out? We're going to look at certain games to come out, so when different games came out. And we might find out things like the first console to have internet capability, the first one that allowed you to play games online, those kind of things as well. right? So we're going to create a timeline on the history of computer games. Here's one that I found earlier. You might create something like this, right? Where you've got the different consoles and stuff that came out. With Nintendo coming out in 1985, the PlayStation in 1995, the first internet modem, the first console that might be able to go on the line in 1999, Xboxes, Xbox Connect, and so on. So your task is to make a timeline. Now, you could do it on paper. You get a big sheet of paper and you could do it on paper. You could print off some pictures if you wanted to and stick them on, or you could draw them on. You could ask your parents, your family about computer games they used to play to try and get some sort of family history in there as well. And when you're finished, if you can take a photograph of it, either email it to your teacher or hand it in on Google Classroom so that we can see your work. Try and include information about different consoles, different games, features of the console, and any new ideas that came out, right? Like Nintendo Wii with the moving controllers, those kind of things that you could talk about. Again, in your booklet, so the Year 8 booklet, if you click on the history of computers, it will take you to this task. And again, you can see here you've got some things that you need to do. The timeline can be done on paper, images and so on, so print them off. And when you're finished, you take a photo of it, as I said, either email it to it, or if you go to Google Classroom and click on Add or Create, you can then link to a file and hand your photograph in there. That's the end of this video. So please stop the video in a minute and actually get the game done, the timeline done, and then I will see you again in the second video when we're going to look at researching different games and having you go at playing some different computer games.